my starting quarterback. But that's not what the option is that's being presented to them. So where does that leave them? Well, let's pick up what happened yesterday. The New York Giants met with Shedeur Sanders, who, as I said a moment ago, is sort of the center of intrigue of the entire NFL draft starting next Thursday night. And then today they are meeting with, what's the order, Milroe and then Shuck?
Milroe today, Tyler Shuck tomorrow.
And so where are we with that now? Because if the Steelers want Shedeur Sanders, who seems to be the most pro-ready, is that at least a reasonable way to put this? There are a million different opinions on him, but certainly if you're drafting a quarterback and you want him to play for you immediately, he seems to be like the one that you would.
Agreeing. Based on his experience and the way he's been coached, he is a plug-and-play starter.
So the only question people have, Graziano, I know you don't know the answer, but I'm going to ask you to speculate. The Giants going to meet with him yesterday at this late date. Does this suggest that they are going to take him third in the draft next Thursday?
I don't think they're going to do that, and I don't think this suggests that. What's happening with these private workouts is Brian Daboll, the Giants head coach, believes he needs to conduct a private workout with the quarterback before he's okay with drafting him, right? And it's a very specific program that Brian Daboll puts the quarterback through. You know, he tests him, his recall, his ability to do very specific things that he wants to be able to see. Remember, Joe Shane and Giants scouts spent the fall going to Colorado games and Miami games and all. Daboll did not. He's coaching the Giants. So the first time he ever saw Shedeur Sanders throw in person was the Colorado Pro Day, which originally he wasn't even going to go to. So this is and today Jalen Milroe will get the same treatment that Shedeur Sanders got yesterday, and tomorrow Tyler Shuck will get the same treatment that Shedeur Sanders got yesterday. And by the way, Jackson Dart got a couple of weeks ago. So you're the Giants. You're trying to order your board. The last piece of data you need is your head coach needs to get their hands on him and conduct this private workout. That's all that's going on here.
Let me ask you a question, Mike Tannenbaum. For those of you who don't know, GM in two different places. So you've lived this life that the Giants are living in right now. If you're just reading the tea leaves, the fact that the Giants are having this workout with him at this late date, which, as Dan said, suggests they're not going to do that without drafting him, does it lead you to think more, or would you lean more towards they're considering him at 3, or they have read the tea leaves and believe there was going to be a real chance he's still available much later in the first round, and that they should be seriously considering a way to get him in the 20s?
Yeah, I think it's much more of the latter, because if they were convicted about taking him at 3, it's over. Like, again, you look at the way 31 other teams are comporting themselves, which is their board set, and now you're just finalizing things, talking about strategy. What they're doing makes sense, but the timing is extremely odd. Like, to do this so late, you've been looking at this player for 18 months, Greeny. So be it the Derek Carr situation in New Orleans, whatever it may be, to your point, this is about what's best for us late in the game, out working these guys out.
Do you think there could be a run on quarterbacks where that always happens? Because we know if Cam Ward's going 1, somebody at some point in the first round might say, all right, Sanders still there, we got to get him. And now you don't want to wait any longer to get whether it's Dart, whether it's Shock, whether it's Milroe. You got to be ready, and the Giants have to be agile enough, especially them, as desperate as they are in their front office. You got to be agile and ready to jump.
That's what it is. Okay, here's the quarterbacks we like. Let's say it's that group of 4 that will do the private workouts. What order do we have them in? Where do we feel comfortable taking them? Are we okay sitting at 34, second pick in the second round, and taking whichever of those is available to us? It's our highest rank. If Shedeur Sanders falls into the 20s, do we need to make a move up to get him? Do we like him that much? Or same with Jalen Milroe, right? Do we like him that much? So that's all this is. And again, you know, they can't be aligned or finalized if the head coach doesn't have all his data yet, which until tomorrow he won't, because he really, this matters to him.
Why is the head coach doing it now? It's typically a month ago. I mean, like, I work with Brian Daboll. He's a really good coach.
How much does how late Shedeur's showcase was, how much does that impact it? Like, do you do the private workouts before you see him on his pro day? Does that kind of change the timeline in it?
Yeah.
Jason, look, on January 2nd, whatever it was, Joe Shea and Brian Daboll were told by John Mara, you're here. That afternoon, you're saying, all right, here are the 15 quarterbacks we have to look at, from Matt Stafford to Shedeur Sanders, and then you map it out. You want that information earlier, because sometimes when you have a private workout, guys, there's more information. You want to bring them in, and you can only bring them in up to 7 days before the draft. And sometimes you bring them in, there's a security issue, a medical issue, their ability to learn, whatever it may be. So again, it's just the fact that it's so late goes back to Greeny's point, which is, Are they changing their strategy? Are they changing their order? Because I would have done it like the other teams several weeks ago, the day before the showcase, the day after the showcase, whatever it may be. You have dinner on day one, you work them out on day two. Like, there's ways to do it.
Yeah.
The fact that they're out so late is just very unusual.
All right, let me leave it there for the moment. There's a lot more of this to come, plus we'll get to all the NBA. But let me get up and go here, which is brought to you by...
As Rodgers ponders his future, the NFL draft in Green Bay is coming next Thursday, and the draft tends to revolve around the most important position on the field, which is why we're interested in what Rodgers is going to do, the quarterback. According to Mel Kiper and Field Yates, the latest mock, they got 3 going in the first round. Cam Ward goes number 1 to the Titans, Shedeur Sanders to the Saints at 9. They have Cleveland trading up to 29 to take Jackson Dart. Some other notable names in the top 3, Travis Hunter, a two-way guy out of Colorado, and that's Abdul Carter. If Mel and Field are right, Travis and Shedeur would be the 3rd quarterback wide receiver teammate in the top 10 of the draft. This is the closest we've been to the NFL draft without a first-round trade since 1993. Montana that year went to the Chiefs. Been far too long since I visited with my friend Louis Riddick. We got the draft from Green Bay next Thursday. Perfect opportunity to welcome you back onto the program. Cam Ward sitting at the top of Mel and Field Yates draft boards. He's going to go number 1. I know that you are not stingy with praise, but I don't often hear you this effusive in praise. You really, really like Cam Ward because why?
Because of the seriousness, because of the commitment to the craft, Scott. The football character, the personal character, the commitment to the process. It's second to none. And he really is someone who has taken his game to a whole new level, a whole nother level, both from a mental perspective as far as all the things that they put on him, Scott, down there at the University of Miami. All the leeway they gave him at the line of scrimmage to run this offense, and then the physical skills that you saw on display, the quick release, the three-quarter sidearm stuff, the ad-lib in the pocket, the ability to play in structure, out of structure, in the pocket, outside of the pocket.
Right.
And then that howitzer of an arm. Scott, I'm telling you, the arm is legit, man. And you know I've told you this before. You can't really get a good feel for quarterbacks until you stand right next to them and watch them throw the football. I got some of the same feelings that I got when I was down in Baton Rouge a year ago and I watched Jayden Daniels throw. That ball is humming. Dude, he is going to be the real deal. People thought I was crazy when I said his play style reminds me of Patrick Mahomes. The style, the baseball throws, feet parallel to the line of scrimmage. It doesn't always look perfect, but damn, is it effective. I'm all in, dude. I'm all in.
Listen, I've known you a long time, and other than Mahomes, I feel like this is on the same kind of level of the buy-in. So we'll file that away, and we look forward to watching him transition to the NFL. And I feel like we could say the same thing about Travis Hunter. I'd say the draft starts at 2 with Cleveland, but I'm pretty sure the draft starts at 3 with the Giants, because Cleveland, I believe, is going to take Travis Hunter. Their GM, and Andrew Berry, called him a unicorn, made the Shohei Ohtani comparison. My question to you, Louis, isn't can he play both ways, because I'm sure he could. Do you believe ultimately he will be asked to play both ways, given this investment of capital, but given what he could be on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, I think he will. It won't be at the same clip that he played in Colorado out there in Boulder. It won't be 120 snaps a game. But I could definitely see him playing 50, 55 snaps on defense, 25 snaps on offense, and being the kind of guy who will affect the game, in critical moments in big-time ways with big-time plays, because that's just who Travis is. As Deion Sanders says himself, he is him. Travis is one of the best-conditioned athletes ever to play the game. He is truly a unicorn, a transcendent individual. We throw around the word transcendent all the time, but his conditioning, the fluidity of his movement, his hand-eye coordination, he was born with all this stuff. And to watch it again in person out there in Boulder during the Colorado Showcase, I've never seen a guy catch the ball without gloves and not hear the ball hit his hands at all. It was as if you were throwing it into a pillow. It was just so easy, and I was just sitting there going, damn. Like, that is something you're born with. That's not something that coaches teach you. You just have that. You don't want to limit that to one side of the ball, man. He's all ball all the time. Man, you just love to have a guy like that in your organization. You would love to.
When they do these draft cut-ups, right, you put the videos together, you could put on an insane, like, and one mixtape of his catches, and then you could do the exact same thing of him on the defensive side of the ball. So we look forward to seeing him translate, and I can't wait to see what Ashton Jeanty is at the next level. I felt like I saw a ton of his games this year. really explodes in that game against Oregon. And yeah, man, if you watch that Penn State game, Penn State made it hard on him, but he still got his. And he said in the Athletic, excuse me, I beg your pardon, the Players Tribune, it's tackle football. You know what I'm saying? I draft a guy they can't tackle. Thank you for your time, Ashton Jeanty. What kind of ceiling are we talking about here, Lewis, for this ball carrier?
Yeah, this is big time. This is big time. And the reason why the ceiling is so high is not just because of his physical skills, because this kid, Scott, you talk to Ashton Jeanty, you'd be like, that's what I want in a football player, a friend, a son. That's what I want. He's that kind of dude. The ceiling, if he gets to the right place with the right kind of support, the right kind of run game scheme, he can break Eric Dickerson's rookie rushing record. He'll go for over 1,800. He will. He's built that way. He's built like a tank. He's like a bodybuilder with like a ballerina's kind of fluidity to him. At 5'8", 215 pounds. I saw some people on social media talking about